I've always felt the need for a temporary escape. It probably looks like I spend my life shooting in beautiful locations, but what you don't see are the countless days stuck in my office, glued to a computer screen.
The person you called cannot be reached now.
I just need space. Space to think, space to be present, space to truly appreciate how lucky I am to do what I love. So I hit the road and head north, where the peaks are dusted with snow, the air is crisp and the water runs deep and blue, where the forests stand tall and ancient and you can travel for miles without seeing another soul. For this shoot, there was only one location that I had in mind. The home of Torabhaig Whisky.
Let's go.
Torabhaig Distillery was founded in 2017, becoming only the second licensed distillery on the Isle of Skye. It stands within a restored 19th century farmstead, once a steading for cattle and grain storage. Using traditional copper pot stills and Skye's pure water, it produces a bold, heavily peated single malt.
I had to cover up my hoodie. I don't want to go in there with the Talisker on. What a setting for a distillery, eh? That view is unreal. Right, so the plan is, when I go in, I'm going to pick up a wee bottle of Torabhaig. This is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. So that must be the water source for the distillery down there.
So I think I'm going to get this one. I think especially, see, we're talking about with the colours outside. This is like a lot more blue. It might kind of complement the sky and the water a bit more. I was looking at this one here as well, but that red, I think if we were doing it in autumn, that would maybe complement if it was like heather and stuff. I think time of year, I think we go with this one. Yeah, I just think the two-tone of the blue, and especially the black, because you get that basalt rock and stuff like that on Skye.
And it was at this point that we were very unexpectedly but generously given a quick tour around the distillery, giving us an insight into its processes and exciting plans for the future.
Thank you very much for that.
So you and I have discussed at length about how coming here, especially this time of year, is great for getting away from the kind of hustle and bustle of everyday life. So I think that phrase, refined character, that was on that bottle, I think if we lean into that phrase, it should be quite a noisy introduction. Traffic, that dial-up internet sound, clicking of a mouse, clacking of a keyboard, and the whole thing is about coming up here for peace, quiet, serenity, and that can be accompanied by Torabhaig Whisky. No, Jane? Think that's good?
Yep.
And we need to make sure that the photographs and the video are really complementary, because this is the first time I've tried to do this kind of trip
and I'm doing the photographs and the video, so I've got to keep that in mind, that I can't just get carried away like I normally would. You know, just get like, oh, look at that over there, and just stick it down. So I need to keep, like, kind of be single-minded with it. And also, we need to keep an eye on the weather, because it looks like it's closing in. Yeah, so I mean, the plan is we're going to try and shoot this on Sunday before we go home, weather dependent. But the other real constricting factor about shooting on Skye in December is that you get a grand total of 36 minutes of sunlight, and then everything else is just a bit dull. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes you hit the sweet spot. Oh, the sweet spot. When we were here a couple of years ago, it was like July.
Yeah, it's
It was
Russia.
absolutely freezing, but was clear as a bell, beautiful light, incredible. And because the sun never really reaches its highest, like this higher point in the sky as it does in the summer, you get this beautiful diagonal light all day. The problem is, as you can see from outside, it's this perpetual cloud. I feel like I'm living in a Twilight film. I can just call me Edward Cullen Hills. There we go.
I'm going to stop filming.
My God, look at that. That is insane looking. Because the light is so fleeting, and also we've spent this morning going around a rival distillery. So Emma has got a wee glow in her. She's about 6 hoffs deep. She's also filled herself up with a scallop supper. So we're going to go and spend the rest of the day shooting some B-roll stuff. The idea being that if we can film all the elemental stuff while we have the opportunity, then and then tomorrow, hopefully, we can get a wee break in the weather and we can shoot all the product-based content. So we're currently heading round to Dunvegan. We're on a single-track road. That, I mean, you could loosely call it a road. It's
More potholes than road.
yeah, it is more potholes than road. It's like the surface of the moon. So I feel like I'm driving a buggy. But yeah, we're heading round to Dunvegan, and then we'll find some other spots on the island, because we've maybe got about like an hour and a half of light left before it just becomes a waste of time. So once we've negotiated the bunkers on the road, then we can shoot some lovely content. After a full day of exploring the island, capturing all the essential B-roll and photographing its stunning landscapes, we decided to end the day with a well-deserved treat. Dinner at the Three Chimneys. If you haven't been before, it is an absolute must visit. Bitterly cold. You know, when you get out the car at first, you think, oh, it's okay, and then you're out there for maybe a minute or two, and then it just it just starts biting. Oh! There are just some absolutely beautiful spots just now that are being highlighted by a mixture of sort of pointing sunlight and really low cloud. It just adds to the atmosphere, and it kind of steers you in a direction of how the end product's going to look. So, you're probably wondering, why is this cut to a different vehicle, a different time? Well, last night, so say around 10, 12 hours ago max, I was sat in the office, I was editing the final part of the film, and I bring Emma in just to have a look at it, because it's always good to have a fresh pair of eyes on whatever you're working on, somebody who's maybe got a slightly different perspective. And she pointed something out to me, something that I had completely not even given a second thought, and basically showed that what the end deliverables were going to be could have been perceived in a, let's say, a slightly different way. She was entirely correct. I hadn't even given a thought to it. I'm not going to go into the details of what that was. That has led to this morning, 5 in the morning, I was up, I loaded up the van, and then I'm heading back to Skye. Basically, I wouldn't have been happy with what I'd put out if I hadn't been doing this. So it's better to go and reshoot it rather than try and fix things in post-production. The weather is slightly more favourable today. There is not an awful lot of wind. The forecast is saying it's going to be clear, but I suppose we'll see how that goes. So I found a wee space down next to the road here. Basically, I was looking for somewhere to be able to park the car relatively close to the shoot site, but still be able to have that kind of remote feel to it. So I'm going to go and take a wee look down at the shore and see what is the best place to start setting up. This looks like a great place to shoot. We're right down on the water. We're kind of sheltered from the wind on both sides here. So I'm just about to start just now, and I found this wee rock pool bit here. Basically, I think this is kind of an unexpected start, but I think I'm going to start shooting with this before I get set up. This wasn't really something I thought about shooting before getting here, but however, there are some oil stains in the water which would kind of link back to the peak. I'm going to start with the 70x200. So I'm going to do a couple of quick test pops here with this before digging out the FX3, which I'm incredibly excited about being able to use for the first time for a product like this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm trying to shoot through some of this foreground. There's some grass that's just in the foreground that basically just gives the whole thing a bit of depth. Thinking about the colours, we've got the blue in the background that talks to the blue that's on the label. We've also got some of that black label that links in with the basalt rock that you see all around here. And then on top of that, you also get that golden colour inside the bottle, which is then linked to the grass. Now, I don't really like that angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the bottle around slightly so that I can get more of a clean shot through. There'll be more of the water that'll be visible. I'm going to turn this like here, and we'll have a look at that. Couple of nice shots here. Then we're going to get in for some close-ups. Let's see how we're looking. So the colours are looking great. Colours are looking great. Oh, my knees are getting soggy. Because I only have a sort of finite amount of time and I'm now soaking wet, I'm going to dig out the FX3 and do a couple of wee video cutaways. Found this wee spot that's kind of sheltered from the wind. I just hope the rain stays off long enough. So my next thing I want to do is I've brought some kindling down. I'm going to make a very small fire. And basically the whole idea is that the man, stressful job, comes up to Skye because what he's looking for is seclusion and chance to think, get back to nature, all that good stuff. So I'm going to set up a wee thing in here, just in behind these rocks over here, so that when the wind's coming off the water, it's not going to put it out, but there's still plenty of surfaces for me to place that bottle on for doing photographs and video. So we've got a wee fire on the go. I have skewered myself, and the fire looks fantastic behind it. It really looks great, and it's just talking to that whole thing about peat smoke. Now I've kind of got that safety shot in the bag, which is always what you need. You need that safety shot, just so that if anything goes wrong, i.e. weather, the bottle explodes, something else happens, I've got that shot in the bag. I'm going to do some B-roll here, just to give the whole thing some texture. Luckily there's loads and loads here to work with. Just done a wee bit of filming of the bottle there just as the fire was kicking up. I'm going to throw a couple more logs on and then do the last bit of photography of it in front of the fire, and then hopefully, try not to fall, Greg, we'll move down onto the water. So what I'm doing just now is shooting through, trying to get a bit of depth through the rocks, but still getting that lick of fire in behind the bottle. So trying to get a wee bit more smoke off it as well. Because it is a heavily peated whisky, you want that smoke in the image. It really kind of sells the flavour profile. So we're going to try and do a wee shot of it in amongst the heather, as that was some sort of tasting notes that we were given. So basically what we're trying to do here is just hit the tasting notes: peat smoke, heather and brine. After 4 days on the Isle of Skye, filming and photographing a bottle of Torabhaig Whisky, I've come to understand just how much this place shapes what is inside the bottle. The peat smoke, the bold character, and the tradition of whisky making. Torabhaig isn't just made on Skye, it belongs to it. Here is a short film made for Torabhaig Whisky.